the 10 millionth collectible that was minted on Immutable X happened to be something that I bought off the market.
Hey guys, welcome back to the VeVe Vantage Podcast. Today we'll be talking about how MisterV purchased the 10th million VeVe collectibles ever minted on Immutable X, how and why the Apple Vision Pro AR/VR headset will change the game for VeVe. Not in 2024 though, but in the near future. We also talk about our long-term strategy and what I'm saving up for. Let's get to it. So recently, I haven't purchased anything on VeVe, but I've been thinking a lot about this opportunity because there hasn't been any updates, and both it's been pretty quiet on VeVe in terms of market activities, new app release, and at the macro level of NFTs. But I think this is a very good opportunity. And I kind of want to share my strategy a little bit. I'm not able to do it now, and I may have to sell, a couple of things for family purposes. But this is kind of my goal, even like long-term goal slash strategy that I want to share with everybody. So what I realized is, again, one of the biggest concept I always talk about is just the importance of FAs, because whatever happens to the market and all those kind of things, there's one huge fact that is the first appearances on the blockchain of some of the most recognizable, some of the most popular, well-known, well-liked fictional characters are still on VeVe. And I don't want to get into the prices and all of those kind of things, but personally, I think they are somewhat undervalued, especially I call them the pure set, as in the drops, the FAs that only have one variant. For example, Hulk is a very good one. Captain America, sorry, no, no, not Captain America. Iron
Steve
Man.
Rogers?
Yes. Yeah. Him. Iron Man. I was gonna say Todd too. And I would say Todd is a very good candidate because even though Todd came out on the same drop with like Rizzo and Joe Matt Batman, Todd has so many firsts, so Todd qualifies. So the way that I define pure FA here means there's only one variant for that drop. So like a great candidate is Hulk, Iron Man, Superman, and I would throw Todd in here as an exception. There are other very good FAs that I think are like stackable that people will be very into. For example, Spider-Man, or even Thor. But the reason why I prefer the pure ones is because, for example, Spider-Man, right? There are 5 variants from common to secret rare. So in my mind, there's always that debate of, oh, is the common variant the first ever? Which we all know it is the first because David has mentioned this a long time ago, how Todd is the first because he's the common variant in that first ever set. So obviously the common Spider-Man is the first Spider-Man, but also it's not as scarce as the secret rare Spider-Man, which is also considered FA, but not as FA as the common variant. But anyways, going back to my point, personally, and I don't recommend anybody because I don't like to, convince you to do anything. But personally, what I'm trying to do is saving up for the undervalue one item, one set FAs, because like the first, there's no way you can like dispute that, there's only one first. Doesn't matter that how many like Superman or like Batman that came after that, there's only one first.
I'd agree with you on that. I do like the idea when there's less of a discrepancy between all the different rarities. It makes life a lot easier when we already have enough to think about. So I'm with you on that. And I think it's pretty tough when we all have like our favorite fandoms
Hmm.
to really pick what we think would resonate with the biggest audience.
Right.
And the ones that you listed, I think are the big hitters, the heavy hitters, and very likable,
Yeah. Okay.
regardless of like the demographic that we're talking that we might bring up.
Yeah. And I want to add something to that. This is a long-term strategy. This is not really like you're probably not going to be able to flip it for profit in the next year or two. My strategy with these guys is okay, I would spend $800 on a Todd or 350 on a Superman. and then lock them away for 2 or 3 years. That's how I think about it, because I don't want, the thing is, I hate that emotional roller coaster of like looking at the price actions every day and trying to time it right to sell it. But going back to my point, the reason why I like this strategy is because we cannot undervalue the significance of FAs, and especially nowadays, I would say the sentiment is somewhat negative and pretty low. So there's a lot of opportunities that people are not really looking at because they are somewhat influenced by the emotion. Like some might not be happy with VeVe, therefore they're not buying or they're even selling. The general market has not learned about VeVe or digital collectibles yet. So to me, that's an opportunity. But with anything, it's not something that you need to FOMO in, because I feel like there's a lot of time. We still have a lot of time for adoption to happen, and it's always nice to have liquidity because the prices can go down further tomorrow. Who knows, right? So my strategy here is take it easy, kind of like have a more relaxed mentality going into this. Buy the pieces that you like and you have learned to like for different reasons, and then if you think the market will appreciate the significance of these FAs, then buy them and lock them away. That's my personal opinion on it.
No, I think those are all valid points and very noteworthy. And I pretty much agree with you. I mean, I don't feel any sense of urgency
Mm-hmm.
anymore, fortunately, to rush and buy anything. I'm taking it easy, and when it feels right, like, and I know that I like what I'm about to buy, then I'll go for it. And I also like to add that the whole approach of like setting it and forgetting it is it's pretty nice because you don't have to think sometimes,
Yeah.
and that's always a good thing, I think. Like and also you were referencing, you were talking about staying liquid, and that's always a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you always stay liquid? And I think taking into consideration all the things on both on and off the app, and experience, mistakes, all those things help in making sure that you know how to stay liquid and pace yourself. So that's kind of what I've been doing too. And I've barely bought anything in the past couple of weeks, maybe past month, but I did make some interesting buys that I'd like to share.
All right.
I, I managed to complete the Hawkeye set from Marvel, and it's this these comic strip renditions. The style is
Mm-hmm.
similar to what the FA Magneto and Dr. X, Xavier.
Oh, okay. I always thought
Excuse
they
me,
looked a little bit
excuse me,
different.
Professor
Oh,
X.
okay.
Sorry,
Right.
yeah, Professor X, Magneto, and then Hawkeye, and the rest of the set all have the same style. And there's three pieces to the set, and I had somebody message me asking me if I'd be interested in the Ronin. So, and I really wasn't trying to buy any of them other than Hawkeye. And I was willing to wait it out, but the guy, reached out, and I was like, you know what, it looks cool. I may as well. And we came to an agreement. I bought that. Meanwhile, I was really holding out hope that people would be buying the rest of the collectibles from the store because I saw that it didn't sell out. Nobody was buying it. Nobody's been buying it, and it's all been sitting in the store. And Marvel collectibles expire, and then those editions get sent to the burn wallet. And then another guy, his name is Charlie NFT 123. He's a man. The guy's a heavy hitter. He's really been making some like awesome statements with his recent sets. He had another piece in that set, and I got that off of him at cost plus whatever the market fees were,
Hmm.
which was awesome of him. And
Wow.
I wish more people would do that. And I'd be happy to return the favor if that ever came up. But yeah, I mean, that helped. And then he found out who had the last piece, the Hawkeye collectible, and I was messaging them on the feed for probably 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, every single day at like random hours because I had no idea
Yeah, yeah.
because you don't know what part of the world the person's in. And his name on VeVe is Jaybird76. And we came to an agreement. I was able to buy the final piece, so I completed that set all within about, I want to say, 2 months maybe.
Nice.
And and it looks really cool. I mean, it looks pretty cool. And I'm glad I got it. And then another thing that was pretty noteworthy
Hold on, hold on.
was
So there are three pieces in that set, right? So Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and Ronin.
correct.
Oh, okay.
And
And
what's pretty cool is that on drop day, like if you wanted to craft Ronin, you had to buy both Kate Bishop and Hawkeye from the market
mhm,
at least. It could have been from the store or from the market. When you had both, then you could craft Ronin at a cost, I think. I think it was like 60 gems or something. And it sold out. And I think there was a total of 600 editions of that. And I think maybe there's like 1,000 editions or less of the other two, of the first two, Kate Bishop and Hawkeye.
right.
So that set is very scarce, and I'm just glad because I managed to get the whole set
Yeah.
with matching editions.
And you said that the set is sold out.
No, uh, there's a lot of Hawkeye in the store and Kate Bishop in the store.
Mm.
Ronin did sell out or mint out, and all 600 editions are either in circulation or being held by VeVe.
Oh, I see. I would say that's pretty good that you were able to get the edition that you wanted from the market because otherwise you probably would have had to wait for a little bit longer, right? Because the drop is not sold out, or even like if they were to send the remaining editions to the burn wallet, then that's gonna be impossible to complete the set with the same mint.
That's always the challenge. And like I've spoken with a lot of collectors who are now trying to complete sets,
Yeah,
and it kind of feeds into it, like we're feeding into each other, and like not it's not for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart because it can get expensive at times. It can be very annoying having to wait for months just for one person to respond to your messages on the feed
yeah,
and like a whole bunch of other reasons. But it just makes it that much more special and valuable in a sense when less and less complete sets with matching editions become available because
right.
of burning or they're just sitting in the store, especially now because people like a lot of things aren't selling out from the store. So
Yeah.
that I think that just adds to this overall scarcity of not only the certain collectibles, but matching edition sets.
I would say at the same time, it is tricky to communicate in the app too because I'm not sure about you, but in the past I always ask people to share their showrooms and I'll come and film them. So people would share their showroom and then tag me in the post, and I get a notification that MisterV tagged me in the post, right? But then when I clicked on it, it would not take me to that post. It would just like time out, and I will see like a gray screen. And some people have had that problem too. So I would say like it was one of the reasons why it took you a while to get that one person could have been that, because you tag that person in your post, but they cannot open it.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, it worked out in the end.
Okay.
And then another cool thing that caught me by surprise was on X, I saw that Still Naked Whale posted that the 10 millionth collectible that was minted on Immutable X happened to be something that I bought off the market, off
Wow.
of the secondary market. And
What was it?
um, it was uh, Beast from X-Men.
Okay.
It was FA Beast from X-Men, and the edition number was 1234. And
Wow, that's
I
huge.
I saw that it was listed on the market, and then somebody else bought it and relisted it for something really reasonable. And then I bought it right away as soon as that person relisted it,
Not
and
knowing it was the 10 millionth NFT.
uh,
Wow.
that was minted on Immutable X.
Yeah, yeah.
And he put up the post, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a nice clean number. That's like both are pretty nice clean numbers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just, I mean, not that we need to go into uh deeper discussions into it, but I think there's other things that this brought up as a part of the conversation. So that was the 10 millionth collectible that was minted on Immutable X. However, there were multiple million other collectibles that have not been minted on Immutable X. So like each collectible is supposed to have a token ID number and information that's reflected on Immutable X. But when you're scrolling through the certain comics and collectibles, that information is not populated on on the pages. So like if I'm looking for a season one collectible, odds are that let me give you a better example. Spider-Man FA common Spider-Mans.
Right.
A lot of them were not fully migrated to Immutable X, where the token ID information where the token ID information is not readily available. So, as much as I appreciate that FA Beast collectible is the 10 million collectible to be minted on Immutable X, it's not technically the 10 millionth collectible or item to ever be minted on VeVe, right? If that makes
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
But all we have to go off of is that token ID number. And yeah, and that was number 10 million.
Wow.
And I did have some people reach out to me and ask me if I'd be willing to let it go. But I think they know that it's not the fact that the token ID number is that, but it's more
Yes.
because
The min
the
number.
collectible, yeah, the edition number itself
Yes.
is more of my interest, and I don't wanna break sets if I can help it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Wow. Good thing
but
you like 1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah, so that was pretty cool, and it made for a fun little anecdote
Yeah.
I thought to share on here. And as for everything else, I've kind of hit pause. I've been working a lot more with my new job, my quote unquote new job. Added a lot more work hours, sleeping a lot less. So I'm keeping myself productive. Let's put it that way.
Nice. Yeah, I think you have to keep that 10 million IMX minted collectible because it is so special. And it is even more special because it has your, that one mint that you always try to get. So yeah, that is gonna be like a very memorable collectible in your collection.
Yeah, it was a nice accident.
And then I think we talked about it like a long time ago too about the difference of uh edition number and mint number. But
Mhm.
that's we have talked about it, and I thought it was very very interesting. So we might visit that. Well, we might revisit that concept at some point. But the next topic I want to talk about because it is very timely is the Apple Vision Pro, and
Right.
particularly I want to talk about how I know that one day VeVe will integrate with that particular device. I don't think it's gonna happen right away, at least for the next few months or even in 2024 at all. But at some point, it's gonna happen. And I want to talk about why and how. So one thing to keep in mind for everybody is again, it's not gonna happen right away. You're not gonna see VeVe on Vision Pro next month, or even I'll probably say even in 2024 and maybe in the next 18 months. But someday I'm sure it will be there. So the device was available for pre-order today. So today, as we're filming, is Friday, January the 19th. And so it's only available for pre-order in US Apple Store locations and online. And it has a price tag of $3,500. So it's
That's it?
very, not yet, $3,500 is just the base edition. For folks like me, because I wear glasses, I'll have to add extra things like a prescription lens, and that's gonna cost me like I think another $150 total. But
Mhm.
yeah, so if you were to max it out with all like the extra gears on it, it's gonna be like close to $4,000 pre-order.
Mm.
So those are some important information. I'm not getting one, by the way, so I'm just telling you guys about it. And so the reason why I wanted to bring up this concept is because at the moment we don't get to experience the best of our VeVe collectibles, and that is because visually what you're seeing on the app is not the real definition or not the real aesthetic of what the collectible should look like. In reality, it looks a lot better. And let me explain why. When we talked to Dan, he mentioned that the reason why the collectibles in our showrooms on our phone don't look the best is because they had to optimize the look so that it will load for newer phones and older phones. So I know a lot of people are, they have their iPhone 15s and all those kind of things, but I'm on an iPhone 10, and many other folks are still on the older generations, like iPhone 8 even. So because of that reason, the technology on these phones are very different. Some are newer, some are older, some are faster, some are slower, and some are more capable than others. And in order for VeVe app to work on every single device, they had to lower the resolution of these collectibles so that they would open, right? So that you can see them on your phone, regardless of whether you have a newer phone or an older phone. That's why a lot of the folks who are VeVe's beta tester, they were generally very impressed with the real quality of these collectibles in the VeVe's, because with the VeVe's, they don't use that particular product on the mobile app. They open it on their desktop or laptop through a specific software. And that's how they're able to really see the true definition, the true resolution of these collectibles. So an analogy I would make is what we see on our phone is like 360p on YouTube, and the true resolution of this collectible is like a 4K. But the majority of us have not been able to experience that yet because either we don't have access to VeVe's, or we don't have access to one particular good device that will really showcase the true value, the true aesthetic of these collectibles. And so this is why collectibles are not displaying at the best definition in our phones. And so they will in the VeVe's, and I assume on the Apple Vision Pro as well. Why they will look better on Vision Pro? This is because this Vision Pro headset has an M2 chip, which is the kind of chip that is very powerful, and it powers the Mac that I have now. So I have one of the latest generation of the MacBook, and it has an M2 chip, and it is way more powerful than the chip that we have on our phones, even the latest phone or the latest iPhone, because it's so small, right? It doesn't have that kind of chip that powers a more like powerful machine like a Mac or even an iPad. So it also has an extra R1 processor that handles data from 2,000 sensors. So in order to simplify that, this device will run a lot faster, better, and more efficient than the best iPhone on the market. But the best thing here is that it's going to look amazing too, because each eyes, so this is like the device, right? Each eyes will have a 4K display. So it's going to look amazing. So what you see in the Apple Vision Pro is at the maximum resolution that the majority of us can see today. And it is going to like display our collectibles at the true definition. So the smartphone that we have today, they're still phones, right? The basic functions of a phone is you either communicate with friends via calls or text. They're not really optimized to best display digital collectibles. So when you show your friends your, Mickey Mouse NFT on your phone, it is still through the VeVe app, and it's still a photo or like an animated photo with sound, at least to the majority of us. So it's not really an experience. Like if you were to open up your Darth Vader, your friend or you can see Darth Vader, the animation, and hear the sound, but it's like the sound from the bottom of your phone. And it's kind of weird and a little bit awkward. So it's not like it's like watching a video on your phone and being in the film set, for example. But then this Apple Vision Pro will change the game because it provides a very immersive experience for multiple reasons. So if you put the headset on, the first thing you will get is very powerful processing. It's going to give you a much better visualization that will make your collectibles go from 360p to 4K, and the device won't crash when loading too many NFTs like your phone. So it's a lot more powerful than your phone. as I mentioned, it has two 4K micro LED screens, so it display more pixels than a regular 4K TV to each eye, which is insane. It also has speakers, and it gives you that spatial audio, so it create a very immersive sound experience. So at the moment, if you were to open up an animated collectible with sound, this is the speaker. So the speaker is at the bottom of your phone. It is somewhat spatial for the newer iPhones, but it's not going to be like the sound that you would get from like a mic from a headphone, right? So it's going to be a lot more different. And most importantly, you are not limited by the physical dimensions of your phone. So if this is how big my phone is, the best I can see Darth Vader is around this area. It's not a whole lot. Like I can project it in AR and I can resize it, but I still have to look at it through my phone. It's not going to be like as immersive as it could be. But for this Apple Vision Pro headset, I can see him right in front of me. I can resize him, and I can see him in reality, sort of like that. And along with the other NFTs that I have. And so it's not going to be like looking at a tiny screen on my palm anymore. It's going to be me standing next to him, seeing the animation, hearing the sound. And because I am now in a very specific environment created to elevate digital collectibles, it's going to create a total, a very, very different, a very mind-blowing experience that will really convince people and really show the power of digital collectibles. So I'm gonna stop there for now. I have more, but do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm wondering if throughout all this time that's been passing, if VeVe was able to get like a one of the Apple Vision Pros headsets for the past several months and be able to see if they could create what is it that I'm trying to say?
Beta test it.
Yeah, but like so you were talking about how the app was intentionally set up so that the resolution would be
Lower, like
good enough.
optimized. Yes.
Yeah, optimized.
Mm-hmm.
Optimized for all of the different types of phones and devices, right? But I'm wondering if they've optimized the app, or if the web app, or I don't know what, like the web app or the app itself is going to be optimized, and like the resolution is going to be much better when using the Apple Vision Pro, or are they going to have to start from scratch once it's released to the general public? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're assuming that, and like I'm making this inference based off of what David mentioned in one of his in his interview with us, with how Apple would be able to be a little bit more flexible and with VeVe allowing. Sorry, I'm kind of messing this up, but
No, yeah, no worries.
because VeVe is using Apple
Yep.
for buying gems for
Mm-hmm.
the general public.
And VeVe generates a lot of revenue and fees, right? Like you would think they would give VeVe like one of the first prototypes or like devices.
Yeah, so they can kind of like get ahead of it,
Yeah.
and then like when by the time that the Apple Vision Pro is
Mm-hmm.
released, then people would have another version of VeVe that would be optimized for the
Yes.
headset.
So let
You
me
know what I mean?
Yeah, so let me answer that. There are multiple very interesting questions that you brought up. So when I mentioned how things are optimized on our mobile app, what about the web app, right? The thing about the web app is, and I will use another analogy, which is when you play video games on your web app, it's not going to be the same as playing video games by opening the game itself, like downloading the game on your desktop
Mhm.
and playing the game there through the software for the game will be a lot better than playing the same game on your browser, because you are very limited by what the browser allows you to do. Same thing to how like a lot of games will look a whole lot better and run a lot smoother if you were to play on like a gaming console like a PS5 compared to, again, playing on a web app like things on your browser. So that's that. At the same time, so I watched the whole demo of when Apple introduced this Vision Pro headset, and I think they do give out a small number of headsets for some of their like huge developers. So some companies do get it, but the majority of others who want to develop apps on this particular device will be paying that $3,500 in this first generation. So the first generation of Apple Vision Pro and pretty much every other first gen tech products will be purchased by like early adopters and also developers. So usually general consumers like us don't really buy the first generation. It's mostly developers like VeVe because they make apps, right? This is the generation that VeVe would buy to test things out.
I see.
And yeah, and I okay, so that's the second point. So to clarify that, I'm pretty sure Apple, did give out some for like their huge partners and stuff. So that's not VeVe, obviously, because VeVe is still relatively small. But this first generation will be the one that VeVe and other developers would get and other tech adopters would get, just because they have specific intentions with it. But for VeVe's case, is building the app and testing it. So my understanding is 100% that they already have all the assets ready to be integrated with Apple Vision Pro. And last time we talked to Dan, he said that the Viverse can run on Apple Vision Pro because it has a lot of the same integrations as the Meta Quest from Facebook. So I don't think that they will have a problem, loading assets on this new device. I think the question here is, are we going to see the VeVe app or the Viverse? Are they going to be the same or are they going to be separate? Will both be on there, and when? And I don't think we have an answer for that anytime soon because, these things take time. And, VeVe, with their main priorities of Viverse and MCP, that's why I don't think we'll see any of that soon. So at the same time, this is a lot of money for the majority of us, right? I'm not going to be able to afford it. And I'm sure 95% of other folks, some people might be able to afford it, but the first generation is not always the best generations, right? Like over time, they will improve it. As technology progresses, the price would usually gradually come down. And so this is not really a product for like the general consumers. So that's why maybe at this point in time, because not many people can afford it, or, if people can afford it, they're probably not going to get it now because they want to see what it is really capable of. The user base for Vision Pro is pretty small, so I don't think VeVe will be in a hurry to do anything with it yet. But this is a great device that will again really elevate and show us the true aesthetic value of our digital collectibles. And who knows what else they can come up with, because this device has a lot of capabilities, and the digital collectible is the perfect content for it.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. That's a lot of good details
Yeah.
to keep my expectations in check. And yeah, I don't have any intention of buying one either.
Yeah.
At least not the first generation. So it sounds like we have a ways to go
Yeah, a
before
lot of time.
we get an upgrade on any front. Now, I guess that kind of just leaves us to it just leaves us and the general public that's still waiting for the second round of the VeVeverse to see like what that's all about. We were under the impression that in November we were probably going to see second round or maybe even December, but
Mhm.
it's the third week of January 2024
Yeah.
and still haven't seen anything quite yet. So more to come.
Yeah, what I've heard from folks is like they're still having problems integrating collectibles because they have a good amount in there, but it sounds like a lot of the, I think, vehicles and even animated collectibles have to be built a little bit differently compared to the static statues. And it sounds like they are trying to figure things out But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait for that. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed the episode today. And if you have, remember that gentleman agreement. We will continue working until 1 a.m. just for you. But in return, we ask you to subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss out on the actionable and valuable insights, everything VeVe and Omi related. Don't forget to give us a rating and tweet at us to let us know what you think about the podcast so that we can refine the content better just for you. Thank you so much. We hope to see you again next time. Peace.